to do a little continuation here. Let me go back over here to my screen so I can log in. Hope everybody's doing well, and hope y'all can hear me. This is let me get to my chat window here. Yes, sign into my chat. Okay. Alrighty, I think we're good to go. Anyway, all right. So it's your boy JT. No, last time when we were here, we were going over a tune and just some of the stuff I'm working with on a particular tune. And so this time I'm gonna go ahead and switch songs, but then I'll go back to the one that we did last, a couple of days ago, I believe. So we're going to do that, and we'll see what's happening. And pretty excited about um, spending some time here and doing this and sharing a little bit of knowledge I know, and then also as far as what I do in terms of being able to just share what I do, right? Musically, which is really important. So hopefully it will all make sense because it's really it's important that we really help one another out. Especially in the music realm. Um, the music realm is the world is such a small place that oftentimes we get so caught up into the glory, or the in the industry, in the environment, in the stuff that's in out there, the different elements that it's just that we get kind of carried away or we get lost. So you don't want that to happen. So it's best we help one another out in every way that we can, in every way we know how, because again, it's a small world, and there's enough music for everybody, and there's enough stuff to go around for everyone, regardless of what society may say or technology or news may say. There's enough music to go around the entire galaxy, to be honest with you, because there's so many different things. You're talking about different sounds, different genres, different mixes, different concepts, different everything, right? And it's just like there's really no limit to music and to what you do in terms of music, whether it be excuse me, instrumentals, vocals, sound engineering, audio engineering, something for filming, licensing, something for commercials. I know there's a lot of talk about AI that's going to be replacing. They think it is actually replacing a lot of the jingle um, things in the market, in the jingle market, and I guess that is the case. But still, there's tons of other stuff to do in music. It can't replace everything. And so when you talk about human interaction, human response, human behavior, like true human behavior, then I mean, you actually, there's something for us to do, something that has to be done, and that can be done musically. All right. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at this song that I was doing. It's actually it was another project. So we're going to look at just some of the basic stuff. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. Just kind of want to go over some of the stuff that I did in order to make this work for my project and what I was assigned to do. And we just want to make sure that, we're able to, show you all everything, how it goes, and how it looks. So, all right. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this baby here. As some of you may know, if not most of you know, I'm using Pro Tools. Again, my favorite DAWs are Pro Tools, Logic, and Ableton. There's others out there. There's Cubase. There's Fruity Loops. FL Studio. There's GarageBand is like a sister of Logic. But there's other stuff out there. There's tons of stuff. There's a lot of free DAWs out there too that people are using more and more. Industries or some companies rather are starting to use it as well. There's some Adobe Suite, some Adobe stuff out there for audio engineering and studio. There's all kinds of stuff. So and then some of those tools have AI embedded in them as well. So it really depends on what the concept is and what you really want to do and how you want to do it. So meanwhile, we're going to go over here real quick. This song has quite a few pieces of instruments in it. So I don't want to drag it out, but I just wanted to kind of go over it, and maybe we can do a continuation of this one. So we kind of alternate a little bit. We did the one tune that was working on a couple days ago, and so then we're going to do this one. Then we're going to switch back just to kind of give a little variance, and then that way you can feel free to go back and forth whenever you want with these videos. All right. So anyway, looking here on the screen, I have things color coded, which is very important to kind of keep an idea and stay organized as far as what you have, what you're looking to do. I have the drums here. I also have drum reverb, got bass reverb. Here's the master fader, of course. I have a reference track, right? And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Of course, I have piano verb. I got electric guitar, acoustic guitar, 1 and 2. Then I have guitar verb, lead vocals, background vocals, and then I have the different type of effects for those vocals as well. So vocal reverb, delay, and some chorus. All right. And that's just the click track, right? So let's go back to the drums. So let's solo out the kick here. All right. So these drums are live drums. Hold on a second. All right, I'm trying to make sure I get my in-studio stuff together. I'm so busy switching around with different projects and tools. I need to make sure that it's decent enough in here. So anyway, these are live drums. And as you see, I have kick drum on 1, snare 2, overheads, toms, and we have percussions over here. So it's a very basic put together kit setup right now. All right. So primarily what you want to do is when you're working on some of these things, you want to make sure that you have, again, color coded, so you have some organization, right? Do not put the kick and the snare on the same channel. Do not put the kick, snare, and toms on the same channel, or the snare and toms on the same channel, or percussions and kick drum on the same channel. I've seen a lot of weird stuff happen, and so it's not to make fun or not to belittle or downplay or down talk anyone. It's to basically just being correct, being organized, and there's always room for improvement. So some of the things I'm telling you, I'm sure there's engineers that have 1,000 different other ways of doing stuff, but this stuff I'm telling you right now, this is the basics. This is the 101. This is the stuff that you need in order to remain organized. So it's, so for some of you who are very well advanced in engineering and that sort of thing, you already know what I'm talking about. For those who are just starting out, then this is for you. This is good. You get a chance to kind of see how things are put together and how they should be stacked and put together. So anyway, we have the kick on 1, snare on 2, all right, and so forth. So on snare, what we did was I actually had some effects here. I'm going to turn these off and go dry so you hear what it sounds like without the effect. Okay, so you're going to hear a little bit of the overhead stuff, all right? Because if you got a live drummer with a 5-piece drum set, for example, right, and you have mics, you have a kick mic in the drum, you have a snare mic, some of them have hi-hat mics, some have rolling tom mics, individually or in the middle. It really depends on how things are set up. Then they have a floor tom mic. Then they have overheads left and right, right, for the cymbals and for the overall kit. So a lot of times, all that stuff is really, really hard to really separate in a sense, because it's essentially one space, one room. But you do what you can by having those mics positioned a certain kind of way, in a specific way, so that you can really focus on honing in on the sound of the instrument that you're picking up, that you need to pick up, right? So, you know, your kick drum, that sort of thing. And that's just natural. It's okay. If you're dealing with electronic drum kit, like a Roland V drum set or an Elisa's drum electronic set or whatnot, or Yamaha, then it would be a different story. You have individual direct inputs coming in those pads from the module, right? So it's just like having a keyboard plugged directly up, or a synthesizer plugged directly up into its own different channel directly, versus trying to mic it through a keyboard amp. Make sense? So that's what we're talking about here. When we say things have to be set up a certain kind of way, we want to make sure that we have them positioned correctly. And even when you're dealing with, and we'll talk about this later on, a lot of my organ cats that play Hammond B3 organ, you know, you got the Leslie. So there's a certain way that Leslies have to be mic'd, right? So you have different things like that really play a major role in how it's positioned, how it's mic'd, where the speaker or where the instrument of that speaker is set. There's all kinds of things that come into play. The room, the environment, the setup, feedback, response, room resonance. I mean, it's just all kinds of scientific things that come into play, but it's really cool, and it makes sense after a while when you start to really get used to it and start using this stuff. So but anyway, we have the kick drum here that's kicking off. Let me fix my okay. So we got the kick. So the kick is right there. All right. I've got these different effects up here. I've got let's zoom it here on the screen so you can see what I have. We've got an EQ band. We've got a Paultec device. We have, I have to slide over to the other screen so you can see it. And we have a compressor limiter. All right. So we had these three devices here that are really that are going to play a role as far as how this kick drum sounds, how it responds, and how it's supposed to sound, etc. Right? That's what we want to do. We want to focus on how it performs, right? So let's take it one thing at a time. So we're going to pick with the let's mess with, there we go. Let's mess with the EQ. All right. So it's bypass, it's flat, nothing's there. It's flat. EQ. Hear the difference? Let's go flat again. Has a very hollow type of sound as EQ. A little more defined, right? It's because we have a little bit of variance going on here with the low frequencies and with all the different frequencies, right? Low, mid, high, and high frequency. We pulled down a lot of the low, mid, and the mid frequencies because we did not want that hollow sound. So again, if we go flat, you hear where everything's flat and it sounds very flat, hollow, right? So we fixed that with that piece. The next thing we want to look at is we mess with this to kind of give a little pulse with the kick, give a little bit more bite. All right. This EQP, the 1A device, it really does really good with equalizing some of your sounds. So what I'm able to do is give a little bit of a low frequency here, and able to kind of control some of that punchiness, right? And control some of the high frequencies with that, kind of bring it down. But I have a boost here. Like, you don't want to go too crazy with it. But we kind of like, I like to put it right here for this particular, like in between the 4 and the 5. All right, because it's going to really help us with the attenuation that we want to get. All right, now we got the compressor, right? So the compressor is very important. We want to not make it sound too compressed, but we want to have enough control where it's not popping, it's not clipping, it's not overriding and peaking and causing all this weird noise going on in your recording and your sound. So this is really good because you and I both know when you talk at certain levels, sometimes certain words you say have a higher response or punchier type of response that goes above that range, so it kind of peaks and distorts, right? So the same thing with instruments. Your voice is an instrument, so same thing with these instruments, especially with instruments that have hammers, such as acoustic pianos, such as drums. That's a percussion type thing. So we want to make sure we kind of keep those things within means. So we play here with the compressor limiter, and this is the one that comes with Avid with Pro Tools, but they have other ones. They have the ones from some third party from Wave. They have some Ozone. They got all kind of stuff out there you can play with. It really depends on what your preference is and which one you like to use more so than anything. All right. So we got a little bit of compressing. I just kept the knee where it was, and the gain I kept it right here 0. Didn't really want to mess with that too much. Okay. Kept the low frequency at 20 hertz because this is a kick drum, and the high is at 20,000. Just kept things locked in where they are. Because I didn't, again, the ratio is 2 to 5 to 1. Sometimes I like to make it 2 to 1, right? 201. But in this case, I kind of left it where it was because I didn't want to overkill it, but still give it a live presence with the kick. And here's your release time, attack time. So, I went ahead and just like, okay, let's go ahead and let's let that be as it is. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, for sake of time, let me, let's go ahead and let's bring in all these, the entire set, for example, so you can really hear how it sounds, how it comes together. Okay, and I even have percussions in on this, so let's do it together. Let me go back to the top. Alright, just took off the reverb, but I'm going to put it back in just to give it a little liveliness. Oh, no, it's for the bass anyway. Now, you hear a difference? Turn the percussion off. Right now you listen to the kick and the snare by itself. No overheads. Now let's do the toms in here. You notice as soon as I start in activating or soloing out the toms, you start hearing more openness. You start hearing other stuff. It's not as isolated with the instruments like the kick snare, for example, right? Because that's how they have it mic'd with the toms. And then when you start to click in the overhead, you really going to see where it's like, wow, yeah, I can hear how it sounds so wide. So when you have that, you got to kind of play with the levels just to get it right. And it's always a the more you do, the better you become type of thing. And so, and with me, I am still learning a lot. So, it's just a matter of practicing, to get it right. And it's okay. It's good. It's okay. That's what you're here. You're always going to learn. Overhead. Toms. Now, one more thing I'm gonna say, like I said last time, the last session, when you are running effects, typically what you want to do is you want to have a dedicated channel where you can send your effects. You want to send or route your instruments to those effects so that you have that, and it's less processing power. It's less work on your processor. Um, Reduces the chance of latency and errors and conflict and collisions and all kind of stuff that goes on in the back end. So you want to make sure you do that. All right. So here we have an actual reverb here, deverb. All right. And again, we have it set up here. I gave it an input output bus of drum reverb is what I called it. All right. I named it that. So it's down here and it's in stereo. So now I said, okay, well, since we want to do that, let's go ahead and send our drums, the ones that I want to have the reverb. Doesn't have to be all the entire set of drums, right? So I sent the snare to that. There it is. Boom. All right. And so that has it. And toms as well. All right. And percussion as well. So that's where you hear, a little bit of that openness in that room there with that sort of thing. Get a difference? It's dry. Now it's wet. Gives a little openness, right? So it's pretty cool. All right. So those are the drums. We route everything to the drums for the actual sound effect, which is drum reverb. Your instrument, how you set it up is here. Your room one, how wet you want to be, 100%, 50%, or whatnot. Your gain, again, all that kind of thing is really there to help you understand it a little bit better. And then you have the size of the room, small, medium, large. Okay, so again, that's your reverb. That's however you want to set it to be. And you can feel free. Now, when you do that, now check this out before I go to the next instrument. Now, if you notice, I have everything just kind of as is, right? I mean, I have it like, I've got the high frequency cutoff. I've got the delay set up. I've got 100% wet, right? Gain is where it is, 0.0 dB. Now, if I was to go over here, just for this particular instrument here, right, the toms, here's my fader that's dedicated. It comes from this feed. I'm getting this feed from here, so I can control how much reverb I want to add to that particular one track, which is this one, right? So the same thing with this. It keeps opening up on my main screen. Sorry about that. Same thing with this, right? I can control how much reverb I want to add to that one instrumentation. So when you start dealing with vocals and you start dealing with, bass and keyboards and other instruments, you have your dedicated channel of effects that you can commit, set up, and then that way you have it where you can add as much as you want, take out as much as you want, maybe even omit it completely. Just really depends, whether it be reverb or delay or chorus or whatever it is on there. That's your baby to play with. Okay, so all right, so there's your habit. So I have it with that. Now moving on to, let's move on to the bass. I want to low, so I can mute this. All right, so we got a live bass player, electric bass player, right? All right, and again, playing with the EQ over here with it, because I want to be able to give a little bite, bring it to life, right? You don't want it just to be, flat and just laying there. You want to give it life. You want to bring as much life to every instrumentation that you can, and you want to give it the best mix that you possibly know how. Like, give it your all. So here we have it. We've got the bass, and then got a little reverb on there, just a little bit. You can hear it, and that helps out. And the reason why I have reverb on this is because the type of song it is and what we're dealing with concerning vocals. Alrighty, so we have that. We'll come back to reference track. Let's do piano. All right, so piano. You heard it would sound like flat, no EQ. With the EQ, it's more alive. It's flat. There's EQ. All right, so the piano, we have it there. We have a little bit of reverb for that as well. So that worked out pretty cool. And now let's look at oh yeah, guitar. This is going to be pretty cool. Let's go back to the beginning. All right, so I got 3 different guitars playing here. Let's go back to the one. Electric. Got some effects with that, and then EQ. I did old school EQ on this one. Off. EQ on now. Big difference. Went old school because I like it, because that's how it is with guitars, pedals, and pedal boards. You know, I like that a lot. So okay, now we're gonna go to the next one, which is going to be an acoustic piano, acoustic guitar, excuse me. Rhythmic. All right. Got a little reverb with it. All right. There's the EQ on. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. All right. Next one, we're going to turn this EQ on this. We'll leave it flat so you can hear the difference. This is like another, so that was the chord rhythmic type of guitar for acoustic. Now we're going to go to the single string melodic line type of sensation, single string, but melodic line type of acoustic guitar run is really good for ad libs. All right, so let's hear this one. Okay, so I took all the effects off so you can really hear how flat it is. All right, we're gonna let it play again with the effects turned off. Now, to an average ear, might be like, oh, that sounds pretty decent. But no, we want to bring it to life. We want to let this thing breathe. So let's put a little EQ on this thing. And there we go. Sounds better. A little reverb too. So there it is. You know, you hear a little difference in that, right? You hear how it starts to come together, and you know, you're able to make a difference with that, right? So it's real important, you know, to make sure that we can do what we can, again, to bring something to life. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to play all 3 of them together like we did at first. Here we go, intro. So you heard those 3 together without it really being too like, ugh. Okay, so let's see what we can do here, because I would like to do a comparison here. All right, so you know what I mean? Let's get it all together here. goes there. So let's see. Let's do this. And as you notice, I have these in groups down here, which is really, really, really good. Let's do it all together. So there's a lot of effects in there concerning reverb. It's an open thing. It's a band. It's a live band. They wanted to have a certain kind of sound. So we're like, okay, let's see if we can make this happen. So this is what they're doing. And so as you can hear, it's like a big open room for live performance. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to have that. So we're like, okay, let's see what we can do here to make this really happen. So then, and we also had some vocals that came with this. All right. So let me leave those off for now. Let's see what happens. And I want you to pay attention to how I have the vocals panned. All right. Let me move it up some. Sorry, guys and girls.
I'm alright. As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm alright. Being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning up the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too, a little piece of you.
All right, so we've got a male vocalist. We have him singing background vocals. He is not. It's a rock style. It's a pop rock style, country, a little bit of country in it mixed in, but at the same time, it's the feed where he really, really is able to enunciate and to give some really good some good points as far as vocally is concerned. So when you hear his voice and you hear what he does, right? It's just it's like, okay, I think I know where we're going with this, and then to kind of give you an area to play with, right?
I'm alright. As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm alright. Being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too, a little piece. I'm alright. As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm alright. Being away from you.
All right, now, so what we've done was we've got left and right. Okay, so we kind of want to split up those voices to make it wide, make it sound more full, but make it kind of wide and let the ears have a little bit of interesting flavor in terms of vocally, right? So we want to be like, oh, okay, let's just kind of widen this a little bit, pan a little bit, so we get some variance. And then with that being said, of course, I have all these beautiful devices up here. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. All right, and I'm gonna bring them all over to the screen so you can kind of see what's going on here. All right. Now, you may be wondering, like, wait a minute, he's got what? Hold on, what is this he's doing? Okay, so what I had to do was a couple things. Let's start with what we already know. Compressor limiter, that's on there. Really, really good. Keeps it from peaking, keeps it from causing distortion, keeps it from just making it really weird. All right. Then I have a de-esser, kind of take away all the sounds, right? Sometimes your pop filter works really well, and sometimes you need to do a little bit of something extra to make it cleaner, right? To make it have a better enunciated sound. So I applied the de-esser, but here's what I want you to see is that I have basically two EQs. And you may be asking yourself, why does he have two EQs? I thought he just, what are you doing? Like, is this like 1985 where you got all these different, 20, 24 or 28 band EQs that are stacked on top of each other in an old console player? No, that's not what I'm doing. So right here, let's look at this one. All right, this one down here in the bottom right. If you notice, look at here. Look what I have here. I have this curve here, right? I've got this filter turned on that says, I want to block all this noise, right? I want to block all this noise that has to do with this layer of the frequency, of this part of the frequency band, right? So I'm like, we want to curve it off here because there was some noise that was going on with the microphone and with the background that was causing interference with the recording, and you can really hear it. So you can put on your low pass filter, you can put on your high pass filter. Just depends on what you are trying to block out and which frequency range it is. So in this case, it's just like, no, let's just block it out. Let's find the point, and then let's go ahead and knock it out. Okay. So there's some instances where you kind of play around and you just tweak it until you find it, So you want to definitely cut out all those unnecessary frequencies. You find that and you dip it, and it's like, no, I don't want that at all. Just get rid of it. All right. So and then up here they have some factory default settings as well if you want to play with them. I mean, I really don't use them a whole lot. They have some for vocals, right? Add air, presence, that sort of thing. But I just kind of like, nah, let's just leave it alone here. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to block out. I know how I want to make sure that it does not interfere with the recording. So that's what I did. And then of course over here we have our standard EQ I wanted to do for the mic. Make sure his voice is brought to life and not flat. All right. So those are just some key things that we did.
And I'll be fine, cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too.
Hear that without it?
A little piece of you.
So let's do it again, so you can hear it real quickly. Because it's kind of like,
I'm alright.
It's good to hear.
As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm alright. Being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too. A little piece of you.
All right. See if we can catch it again. Sorry.
I'm alright. As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm alright. Being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too. A little piece of you. I'm alright.
All right. Okay. So we kind of do that. We just block that out. All right. So for the sake of time, we'll keep it moving. But those are the things that we do, kind of block out some of the unwanted noise, unwanted frequencies. All right. And then, of course, we'll add some reverb to this. Let's hear it back real quick.
All right. As I pick up the pieces that are left of me, I'm all right. Being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But no, I will always have this too. A little piece of you.
All right, so again, background vocals. Wanted to sound, he's only had a 2-part harmony, but he wanted to be bigger. So, like, okay. So then, on top of that, he's going to have his lead part that he sings with that. All right, and let's do this.
I'm alright as I
About
pick up the pieces that are left of me. I'm alright, being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But know I will always have this too, a little piece of you.
So his lead vocal mic, I have it centered. The other ones I have them panned off. Why now? I kept all these on just for the sake of time, but we do have effects. We have effects with him on this. So I'm going to start at the verse so you can hear it all. So let's hear the verse, the effects.
I know the season's ripe for change.
That's dry.
It's changing all around.
Reverb.
I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down.
Little delay.
Where is the peacefulness of mine?
Hear that delay?
Where will my heart come back to life? I'm alright
Little chorus on
as I
it.
pick up the pieces that are left of me. I'm alright, being away from you,
Yeah.
and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, putting back in order. But know I will always have this too, a little piece of you.
That's the lead, right? So let me go and let's do verse 2
How could we let this slip
with
away?
the background.
It's slipping through my hands. How can the darkness blind the day? Bring back the light. Where is the pleasure in the pain? And where is my shelter in the rain? Well, I'm alright
There's a unison.
as I pick up the pieces
Harmony
that
right
are
there.
left of me. I'm alright, being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, put it back in order. But know I will always have this too, a little piece of you.
All right, so he has a harmony, a unison. You heard that. So let's pick it up a little bit, and we're gonna put everything together so we can hear it all together. All right, let's go back to beginning, and this is it.
I know the season's right for change. It's changing all around. I know the reasons you've arranged. They're tearing me down. Where is the peacefulness of mine? Where will my heart come back to life? I'm alright as I pick up the pieces that are left of me. I'm alright, being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, put it back in order. But know I will always have this too, a little piece of you. How can we let this slip away? Slipping through my hands. How can the darkness blind the day? Bring back the light. Where is the pleasure in the pain? Where is my shelter in the rain? Well, I'm alright as I pick up the pieces that are left of me. I'm alright, being away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, put it back in order. But know I will always have this too, a little piece of you. Dry on my tears and help me allay all my fears and help me, I think I am falling. Does anybody hear me calling? Help me dry on my tears and help me allay all my fears and help me, I think I am falling. Does anybody hear me calling? I'm alright as I pick up the pieces that are left of me. I'm alright, being away from you, I'll be fine. Cleaning out the corner, I will always have is to be a piece of you.
So that's the tune right there. Now, as I was going through, I did notice a few things. Again, I'm still working on some stuff, but I did notice a few things. There was a couple, it looks like there's a couple things that were clipping some in the EQ portion. So when that happens, you got to pull back, keep it clean, right? You don't want to overdo it. Don't want it clipping. Don't want it peaking. Don't want to do anything that's causing distortion and bad signal flow into the audible. So we want to make sure we get that fixed. So, but that's just to, kind of give you a review as far as some of the stuff that goes on with it. Some basic stuff I'm just sharing with you, just that I'm doing. I'm not really showing it to you as an instructor per se, but I am showing it to you in terms of just sharing with you as far as some stuff that I do, some stuff that's going on here, and I'm having fun and I'm learning a lot. And there's a lot of people out there that are really, really great, excellent engineers. More importantly, they're great educators. There's a difference between between showing somebody and educating someone. There's a big difference. And a lot of times, you find education, for one, is the dominant one. And then a lot of times you have people where, what I was going to say is a lot of times you have people that kind of, they do better with showing you, but they're not really educating you, right? So it's like, you want to know how to fish so you can feed yourself. You don't want someone feeding you fish. You want to know how to go fishing so you can feed yourself and you can supply and provide for yourself, right? So that's the key. So anyway, I know it's kind of a long one tonight. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for checking it out. But again, yeah, we're having fun with this Pro Tools. Now the next session I'll just share with you. We'll continue where I left off with my other tune that I have, my own original, and yeah, it's really fun. It's really good to do something to keep your mind occupied and do something that's interesting to you, especially when you're making music, which is making a difference, or you're making movies or documentaries. It's a whole new world out there. So don't be discouraged by what you see in society. If music is what you want to do, if it's in your heart, do it. If engineering is what you want to do in your heart, do it. If teaching, whatever it might be, being a scientist, whatever it might be, do it, right? It's not too late for you to do it. The only time it's too late is when you're 6 feet under. All right. So we want to make sure that we keep encouraging you, and thank you again for your support. Thanks for watching. Do a thumbs up. And follow me. If you're not following me, we do a thumbs up so you get this algorithm. And we got a lot of cool things happening. This is just some of the other stuff we're doing, but we have a lot of other things that are going on and that will be going on with the JTJazz Inner Circle. So make sure you go to my website at JTJazz.com. Check it out. We've got some new projects coming out, working with some artists, and these are some really, really cool, hot stuff. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, take care. God bless. Keep the music alive. And keep smiling. See y'all later. Peace.
That are left of me, I'm alright. Be away from you, and I'll be fine. Cleaning up the corner.